Before we start this video, I just want everybody to know this channel is not turning into some Vaush clip channel like Thermite or Coconut Island or the Vaush Pit or anything like that. No. This video is solely to provide context and basically kind of, it's like a prelude to the video I'm working on now. It is another Jimmy Dore video. And if you're not familiar with the channel, which very likely you're not, I've already made 2 videos on Jimmy Dore. One of them is right here. I recommend you check that out. And it's really important because this is what started the whole drama between Jimmy Dore, TYT, Aaron Mate, and Kyle Kuntz got dragged into it, and all sorts of channels covered it and all that. I feel like this is really important. It's Dylan Burns talking about Syria. Dylan Burns hopped into Vaush's chat, and they talked in Discord about the OPCW leaks and how you'll see. I'll go subscribe to his channel. He does awesome work on foreign policy. Him and Bo the Fifth Column are easily my favorites when it comes to like genuine lefties talking about foreign policy and actually knowing what the fuck they're talking about. So if you could please subscribe, click the bell for notifications, stay tuned because that video is coming. Lots of editing, in between work and all that. So without further ado, enjoy.
And then we got this response from him. So he says, and he's quoting somebody else who said this, but this is the sentiment he agrees with. I think they are talking about the OPCW cover-up and the slanderous conduct of your friends Cenk and Anna in trying to destroy the reputation of Aaron Mate. But you can keep pretending that doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so we already talked about the Aaron Mate thing. The other thing they're talking about here is the OPCW report. They're claiming I never said anything about it. Really? This is from my very last live stream. So we're the rebels in Syria we are the rebels in Syria doing the chemical attacks on the people. So we're, it says W-E'. I think this person is saying, was it the rebels that did the chemical attacks on the people in Syria? You guys had to, follow this stuff. The OPCW whistleblower, I don't know if you guys remember this, but this just came out not that long ago. It turns out that all the claims from the Western governments were total bullshit and they had no evidence for it.
Dylan, you're still here, right? This is complete horseshit, right? Dylan, do you have like 2 seconds in Discord? Can you come in? Why do people want to defend Assad so badly? You're not like challenging American hegemony by defending Assad, all right? Hey, you know how you could have challenged American hegemony? By supporting the fucking Rojava project. But no, Trump pulls troops out of there, so they get fucked by Turkey and by Assad. But no, Rojava, the actual anarchist project, is bad because they worked with American troops against ISIS, and Assad is good because what? Because he works with Putin? Why? All right, hold on. I just need to make sure. Foreign policy stuff is complicated. No. I know Kyle supports the Kurds. I'm not saying he doesn't. By the way, people who like Assad tend not to like Rojava, okay? Like, they actually quite dislike Rojava generally. They say that Rojava is a project of the American State Department, in spite of the fact that it's immeasurably based. But Assad is cool, in spite of him being a right-wing dictator.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm still mad that you stole my belt. I gotta find some other accoutrement. Okay, I just need the info on this. Okay, what was the OC? What's the...
Okay, so the thing that gets me about there's a million things that get me. There's a million terrible fucking things Assad has done that could be talked about. You can talk about how every election he's ever participated was a massive fraud. You could talk about how in 2004, this is something I'm just going to say because nobody knows about this, and it angers me so much. In 2004, there was a football match in northeastern Syria between a predominantly Kurdish area and a predominantly Arab area. And the predominantly Arab area started like holding up pictures of Saddam Hussein, which pissed off the Kurds, right? And this started kind of like a conflict between them, and like there was some fist fighting and stuff thrown. And later, Assad's forces came in and mowed down 30 Kurdish protesters, only Kurdish ones. Then Kurds tore down a statue of Hafez al-Assad, and more were tortured, killed, including children and women. This is stuff that Bashar al-Assad has done for the vast majority of his presidency. The thing is, all of this stuff is completely undisputable. If you look at the start of the Syrian civil war, it started because he opened fire on protesters and the people had had enough. If you look at the barrel bombs, that's completely undisputable. If you look at his history of torture, that's completely undisputable. If you look at his history of censorship of speech or propaganda, all of it, it's completely undisputable. The thing is, There are barrel bombs, obviously documented. There's documented instances of his coalition targeting hospitals full of sick patients and civilians. Like this is all documented. The vast majority of casualties in the Syrian civil war have actually been from the Assad regime. They've killed more people than ISIS did in Syria. In fact, it's not even close in comparison. When it comes to the chemical weapons, there are multiple different chemical weapons attacks all across, as I sent you that list. What they're talking about with the OPCW report is one chemical weapons attack. So that should already be enough that they're not disputing all of these things. It'd be like if I said,
so this
hey,
is a whistleblower report where they're disputing with, and I don't know how substantial the dispute is, but they're disputing one of these 36.
One of like these a fucking huge list of things. It'd be like if somebody was like, hey, you see this list of concentration camps? This one right here, it seems a little weird to me. You see that little smudge on the paper right there? I think they're all fake. That's the level of what
That's
this
what I
is
get
getting
from
at.
Holocaust deniers. So that's
the
something
level
I'm
of what
used
this
to.
is getting at. And so what they're talking about is, number one, they don't want to deal with all the other instances. They want to deal with this instance. And the proposal is that it wasn't Bashar al-Assad. It was actually, well, people did die in this chemical attack, so who could it have been? And so people say it was a false flag operation by the rebels. Is there any evidence provided that it was the rebels? No. Do they even have the means to do this? That is highly questionable. It most certainly was most likely done by helicopters, and I don't know if you know this, but it's very difficult for the FSA, ISIS, or any group that doesn't have an actual standing army to get aerial equipment like helicopters. What does all the evidence point to? The Syrian regime doing it. But because of this whistleblower leak, and by the way, a lot of the whistleblowers, like the information these whistleblowers had access to, was not the same that the actual people who did the vast majority of the research had access to. So I would first question whether these whistleblowers actually had the information available to make these determinations. And next, I would say, not if you even were to, let's say we gave them complete benefit of the doubt and say, this one is sketchy, maybe slightly. This is a little bit sketchy. That's kind of weird. Kind of weird, champ, in fact. The thing is, what about all the other ones? What about all the other evidence? What about all the other evil things he did? And if the idea was that it was a false flag operation done by the United States or the white helmets or everything after Barack Obama put a red line in the sand so we could invade Syria, why the fuck didn't we invade Syria? If the whole point of this was to do this secret special ops operation where we go in and we do this fake flag, a false flag attack to actually do this chemical attack so we make Assad look bad and then do it, why the hell would our response as a government just to be bombing an empty airfield? That's a huge risk to take to undermine our international credibility just to bomb an empty airfield.
Yeah, from what I've seen, the thing is, a lot of people say that all the criticisms of Assad in Syria are part of some like attempt to ramp up an invasion like mentality, but I haven't noticed any of that because I was young, but I remember after 9/11, the pre-Iraq war like drum up, it wasn't just talking about chemical weapons, you know? It was this insane, omnipresent, complete saturation of moralistic justifications for invading Iraq. It wasn't just like, oh, this leader did a bad thing. It was this massive cultural zeitgeist from every element of society, all pushing singly towards the objective of morally justifying an invasion of Iraq. This does not happen in Syria at all. Nobody in America knows what a Syria is. Seriously. Nobody, if you ask an average American what their opinion is on Syria, I don't think they would even know what's in the Middle East, frankly. There's just that war fervor isn't there. And the fact that they're not trying to drum it up suggests to me that criticisms of Syria probably stem from, you know, bad stuff they're doing more so than an attempt at an on-the-ground invasion.
The thing is, if you look at, even if you look at Operation Timber Sycamore, which is a confirmed CIA operation where we sent guns and funds to the FSA, the Free Syrian Army. This is 100% confirmed that we did this. If you just look up Operation Timber Sycamore, there's Wikipedia documents on it. We admit that this happened. None of that had anything to do with what is being proposed here. And you could just talk about that on its own. And that, in and of itself, that operation was never meant to overthrow the government of Bashar al-Assad. It was meant to basically put him in a weakened position, a position where he wouldn't be able to operate to the same capabilities, and it would maybe put him in a different negotiating position. The point of it was never to completely overthrow him, because Obama had to live with the fallout of Iraq, of Afghanistan, of all these different wars, and he ran a tightrope when it came to Syria. And that tightrope was, fuck, Assad's a brutal dictator. Do we commit to overthrowing him? Wait, I just publicly said we're gonna have this red line, oh God. But literally every American hates Iraq. Literally every American hates Afghanistan, which Obama even called Afghanistan, like the good war comparative to Iraq was the bad war. Fuck, what do I do? And that indecisiveness is probably one of the biggest criticisms you'll get for basically both sides of the aisle to Obama. One side saying he did too much in Syria, the other side saying, holy shit, your indecisiveness ruined an opportunity to get rid of a terrible dictator. Then you go to the Trump administration, and he was all over the place. He pulled out of northeastern Syria, which Operation Inherent Resolve was the one like hugely successful thing we did in Syria that like basically had zero to very low drawbacks, and he pulled out of that. So which administration would have done this? Why would Obama make this red line in the sand and go fall back on it? And why would Trump do this huge operation or coordinate this or coordinate that to then just bomb an empty airfield? It doesn't even make sense from like a foreign policy framework. It just and that's on top of the
also
fact
the big
that there's all
fundamentally
human rights abuses.
right. Well, the big issue here is also that if you follow their logic, you don't actually get to criticize any country that America doesn't like. Like, because if you ever do, it's State Department propaganda, and you're like drumming up a war with them or something. They did this with Russia too. The Russian government is dog shit. Fuck Russia. It's a worthless piece of shit government that doesn't deserve any respect or credibility. But any time anybody on the Democratic Party criticizes them, they get accused by all of these IDW adjacent dumbfucks online of peddling like State Department propaganda with the intention of starting World War III. Like you can't not criticize bad countries just because you don't agree with it. Like it's inherently contradictory. They don't. So what? The only countries we can criticize, the only countries that are bad, are what? Western democracies. There's nothing left there. You know.
There's one last thing I should throw.
One last thing. Apparently, Rumsfeld is dead. Apparently, he died like a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I just found that out.
Speaking of the Iraq War,
I'm not gonna. I just think I'm gonna keep quiet on that one.
Yeah, keep.
My mother always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. The thing is, when it comes to this, there's one big conspiracy theory that I'll see, and it's about this organization called the White Helmets. Do you have any familiarity with that? Have you ever heard that said before?
I've heard the name, don't remember what they do.
So White Helmets was this like basically this medical group within Syria that operated on the FSA side of the Syrian civil war, even though they also saved Assad's Syrian Arab army soldiers during it, and actually pissed off a lot of the militias they were fighting along. They were alongside saving him. There was all of these like conspiracy theories about they were the ones who did the chemical attack. Is there any evidence for this? Not really. What people will end up posting is, hey, look at this. They're staging this event. Look at this. They're staging the attack, and post footage that looks like somebody staging a chemical attack. But then you look at the sources of all these videos. What is it? Oh, they're filming for a campaign to raise awareness about the war in Syria. And these conspiracy theories always go along like that. Like unsourced videos where people just randomly fucking claim, blatantly, like just with no evidence whatsoever, that this is evidence of that this was the faked Syrian chemical attack. And it would be like if I said this is evidence of this terrible war crime that happened, and then I just posted like, I don't know, footage from like, I don't know, like some alien invasion movie and saying, see, this is proof of aliens. It's to that level these wacky conspiracy theories get. It's complete fucking nonsense.
I'll have to look into it more. It's just surprising to me that so much time and energy is wasted on the particulars of the war crimes and crimes against humanities that Assad causes, because in all other respects, it seems like we're talking about a fairly petty dictator in a fairly geopolitically, I mean, like when it comes to the relevance of like the average American, it's not like our neighbor, it's not Mexico, you know, but so much time and energy gets split on this. And I really can't help but feel like there are people out there who defend Assad like purely out of contrarianism, or purely because they're I don't know what they like stirring up shit because there are other geopolitical agents who benefit from the defense of Assad. I have no idea, but it's really
Can I
weird.
give you one tip? This is the one tip, and this is something, and I know you like making people angry. Really, you like making the worst people angry. If there's anything that pisses people off more, is actually reading these leaks, reading the context, doing the actual research behind this one day, and then be like, oh shit, yeah, this is all bullshit. And then when later you can say that, people will just get fucking outraged. Every time I say this, I'll have like a bunch of people in chat, fucking people who've never read the report, that'll just say, well, WikiLeaks said this or this said that. If you just read the actual things people talk about, just immediately, they're fucking on the back foot because they never read these reports. They just skim the shit and then throw it out there. It happens every time. And
yeah, I'm actually seeing that right now. Somebody linked a tweet in chat right now, and it's from somebody who got blocked by Aaron Mate. Somebody said the OPCW leak draft said claims of staging are, quote, based on little or no evidence. And somebody else, Aaron Mate, says, wow, can you share a screenshot and the page number of this amazing find? Skeptical emoji, clown face emoji. And then the guy responds, page 28, quote, one criterion used in forensic epidemiology to assess causation considers the possibility of an alternate explanation. The team considered alternate injury events, but stressed they are founded on few or no substantiated facts. And then Mate blocked him. What a piece of shit, dude. We might go after the gray zone next. I don't... these fucking state actors, dude. The literal foreign State Department rolled motherfuckers. Jesus Christ.
Okay, can I give you the collection, the anti-imperialist fucking like power glove collection of
drop them on me, but then I got to go back to the Kyle Kalinske video.
Richard Medhurst, Partisan Girl, Aaron Mate, and the last one, of course, is going to be Glenn Greenwald and Max Blumenthal. These are the 5 magical gems that will give you a brain tumor if you ever need to.
Well, I remember, isn't Partisan Girl like literally a Nazi?
She is friends with David Duke and has been on his podcast multiple times, but people continue to have them on and be friendly with them. And I've had people try to justify her like friendship with David Duke, or her saying that BLM is a terrorist organization and they worked with the terroristic Kurds to destroy America and chop and chap and all that shit. Like 100%. And by the way, she supports the most far right party in Syria, which is like I forget exactly how to pronounce it. I always just call them the Syrian Hurricanes, which have their own militia. Which, one second, let me just read you the description of them. And this is somebody that's apparently really fucking respected. It's called the Syrian Social Nationalist Party.
Cool.
You can take from it what you will.
Yeah, maybe I'll look into them. I love being on the left, man. Nothing makes me happier going online and seeing a bunch of just obvious fascists, except for other countries, being taken seriously. It's really, really cool. I love it.
It's always a blast. You have a good one. By the way, if you just look at their symbol, it just looks like a swastika. It's just basically a swastika.
You said anyway, Syrian Social Nationalist Party?
Yeah, the SSNP for short.
Gotcha. Thank you again, Dylan. I appreciate it.
You have a blast.
It does kind of look like a swastika.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Twitch.tv/DylanBurns TV, YouTube at Dylan Burns TV. That's the way. And BRNS TV. You'll have a blast. Okay, see you later.
All right, pull it in.